Greetings, everyone. Welcome to this session of UK Music with National Graduate Week, talking about careers and pathways in the music sector. I'm sure also come up for discussion the impact of COVID, because we're not going to lie that that's going to be a big subject, but I think this is going to lead to a really exciting conversation about innovation, because for such a creative lot, there's certainly no doubt that we're going to have the ability to have a different approach to things. Now, I'm Sharon Walpole. I'm a director at CareerMap. We're hosting National Graduate Week this week. As I've just said to our guests as they've come in, it's been quite a week, so I'm quite happy that they've got lots and lots to talk about, because I think my brain is about fried, but I'm very excited about this session in particular. Just to let you know, on a practical note, next to your screen, you'll see a chat box. Feel free to jump in at any point, say hello, pop in any questions that you have throughout, but there will also be a Q&A at the end. There are also links that will appear in your chat box. If they're of interest to you, make sure you click on them now. It'll open a separate tab, and that means you can come back to it. This session is being recorded and will be available on careermap.co.uk/CareerMap Live next week. So if there's anything in there that you want now, best to take a screenshot or make a note or click on the links. I'm really excited to introduce our panel, but I think just to get everything spot on, I'd first like to introduce you to Ollie, who's from UK Music, and he'll go through and introduce everybody quickly. I think we've got a couple faces missing at the moment.
Yeah, welcome everyone back in. Everyone back in the room. Great.
Brilliant. Okay. Everybody give a little bit of a wave there. We're all live in here, which is brilliant. So I'll hand over to Ollie to make introductions, and if people can just do a little
great
shout out.
Thanks very much. Well, just to start with, I'll introduce myself, then we'll go around quickly to hear from all the panelists, and then we're going to get a quick summary from each of them on hot topics at the moment. So my name's Oliver Morris. I work for UK Music. UK Music are like the trade body for the entire music industry. So we represent, and I'll run through our members now actually, just quickly. So we represent AIM. One of our guests, Nina, is also from AIM, so you'll hear more about them later. They represent independent labels. BPI represent the majors and a lot of other independents. Featured Artists Coalition, the Ivers Academy, obviously songwriters, composers, managers, publishers, producers, Musicians Union, collecting societies, PPL and PRS. You'll hear more about these later if you want to make sure you get some income from your music. And the Live Music Group, which is a large collection of different people. UK Music, we're right at the forefront of doing loads of work with government. We've been very busy recently with COVID, obviously, as Sharon mentioned, and we're really keen to help young people into the industry, hence why we're doing sessions like this. I've asked everyone just to summarise how they got into the industry too, just to give you a flavour of the different types of routes in. I started many years ago playing in bands when I was about 15, ended up doing loads of mad things, living in an ambulance, playing in festivals, going to LA, all that sort of stuff. Very exciting when I was younger. Then got interested in working with young people in and around music. That led me into education. And finally, eventually, I did a bit of lecturing, got a PhD, and ended up working for UK Music, working on apprenticeships, internships, education policy, all sorts of stuff. It's really quite exciting, and not a job I knew existed before I got into UK Music. So bear that in mind. Things will change as you develop. Now I'll pass over to everyone. We'll work along the line. If I call out your name, just give a quick intro and how you got to the music. So Shao Dow.
I forgot to turn the mic on. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Excellent. Hi, everyone. I'm Shao Dow. I am a professional rapper, manga author, occasional ninja. When I was younger, I lived in China, trained in Shaolin Kung Fu. I now make music and manga and just creative things full time. I've been doing it for over 10 years full time, but been making music for well over 15 years. A couple of years ago, I spoke in Parliament on behalf of small music venues around the country, just raising awareness for the difficulties that they were in. I won the Hardest Working Artist Award at the AIM Awards 2017. And I occasionally rap in English and Japanese, because why not?
Great, thanks, Shao. Moving along to Sylv.
I did exactly the same. Forgot to turn my mic on. Here I am. My name's Sylvia Gargiulo. Gargiulo is how you pronounce my surname. For anyone who was wondering, I run a company called BIY People and Talent, which focuses on HR recruitment, people development, and future talent on the music business side of the industry. I have been working in HR recruitment, people development for 20 years. And through my career path, I always loved music. I have zero musical talent or ability. So because I took that career path into HR, someone said to me one day, you do realise that record labels have HR departments? And I was like, no, really? And then I managed to get a job at Universal Music working in the HR team. And went on to work at a company called Handle Recruitment, who are a massive recruitment agency who specialise in music and creative. And then 4 years ago, I set up my own business, which is BIY People and Talent.
Great, thanks, Elf. Brilliant. So moving along now to Nina.
Can you see and hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Okay, because my little box is completely blacked out, so I don't know what you can actually see. Hi, I'm Nina. I work for the Association of Independent Music. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to say a little bit more about what that is and what we do later on. But yeah, I've come into the industry doing a music performance degree as a vocalist, and then wanted to learn more about the industry. And I saw an opportunity to have an internship at AIM. And 4 years later, I've not left yet. I love it. So yeah, that's basically my route in, and I now look after the training and education for our members. And yeah.
Thanks. That's brilliant. And finally, Tanielle.
Hello. So I work at PPL PRS as a theatre and variety specialist. So I look after public performance licensing of any event that's a theatrical production or anyone you might see on Britain's Got Talent and comedians and people like that. So I got into the industry I started out writing a blog when I was about 15, and it was named after a Smiths song because I thought I was really like indie and into Morrissey and things like that. And then I started writing for NME, Clash, DIY, and became a music editor of Tomorrow magazine, where we did covers with people like Little Mix and Niall Horan. So I did a lot of time writing about popular music, building rapport with record labels and PR. I also then started doing freelance PR and graduated with a degree in music industries from Birmingham City University. And they were partnered with UK Music. And so ever since then, I've been working a little bit with Ollie on the MAP guidelines. And here I am working and talking to you guys.
Great, thanks, Tanielle. Tanielle's very, very modest. She did win the Outstanding MAP Graduate Award as well at UK Music's awards. Oh, sorry, I just had to raise that. Bring that up. So now what we're going to do is very quickly go around everyone just to get their thoughts on a particular area. Just a couple, 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes on what they specifically deal in to give you a flavour, and then hopefully we'll see some questions come in. So I'll start on UK Music now, as I meant, and what we do to help around education and your careers. So we're like a trade body of trade bodies. So I've read out all our members earlier, and you can look at our website, and I'll put the link on in the chat in a minute. You can check them all out. But because we represent all the different areas of the music industry, that's a lot to deal with. So we have members who also have members. So for example, the Musicians Union, they're one of our members. They represent musicians, and they work with us to make sure government understands the pressures that music face. I mean, especially at the moment, COVID, we've been really busy, and Shao Dow mentioned talking in Parliament. You know, that's a classic sort of activity we do. My boss is always in Parliament, well, at the moment on Zoom or on calls, talking to people about how we can support the industry. Now, interestingly, for everyone thinking about getting into the music industry, this understanding of the political landscape and the policy landscape is really key. You will have seen a lot of activity on Twitter, a lot of stuff at the moment around keeping live music going, careers in the industry under pressure, all that kind of thing. So if you can engage with us and engage with our members now, as soon as you can, you'll get a really good sense of where opportunities lie, what's happening, where the future challenges could be, how future challenges could be addressed. And also, super importantly, we all provide loads of information as well and support. So all of our members represent a different part of the industry, and they specialise in looking after and supporting and representing you. So if you're involved in an independent label, you really want to be talking to Nina about getting involved with AIM. That's the Music Producers Guild do loads of events for budding producers, for really well respected producers, for people just coming in, for people who have been in it for 20 years plus. All of our members have got a real interesting footprint on their area, but also feed in as a collective to everything we do, which strengthens our hand. And as I said, just to underline this point, we're all really keen to help ensure that the best information and best opportunities are out there for you if you want to get into the industry or are currently in the industry and want to explore it more. So do check us out. You can follow us on Twitter. All our members are very active. They all have events. And just come along. It'll come out later, and it came out in a talk we did yesterday. The idea of making sure you make your network and you grow your network. It's so key. I think people sometimes miss the importance of that in terms of building a music career, because those people you work with at the moment in a few years will still be probably around working in the same area. So don't think there's something else out there. Your network starts here, right locally, and it grows. But organisations that like this can really help you to develop as an individual, whether that be the artistic side, business side, or probably, as you'll hear from Shao later, a bit of both, because most of us have done a variety of roles over the years and usually have portfolio careers. So bear that in mind, and do get in touch with me after this if you have any follow-up questions. So I'll pass over now, and we'll, on my screen, we'll go sort of clockwise. So Tanyel, are you happy to talk a little bit about your area of interest?
Yeah, sure. So as I mentioned, I've done a variety of different things. So I started out thinking I'm definitely going to be a journalist. Like, this is what I want to do. My mum was like, let me pay for your driving lessons. And I was like, no, I'm moving to London. I'm going to be a journalist. I'll never have time to do it. And I was very stubborn and stuck in that fact. But the difference is I then went to Birmingham City University and did a degree in music industries, which was very much about policy and everything Ollie was basically just saying. And I learned a lot about the business side of things, which was so important because I realised how many different jobs were out there, and it's not necessarily what you think you go into. So when I was at university, I got really involved with grassroots music venues and did a whole campaign about how to protect the licenses of grassroots venues. Then I got into music licensing eventually. And I still do freelance PR and journalism, but I guess the main point of me saying all this is to be open to new ideas, because had UK music not come into my university to start with, I wouldn't have even known there was this whole array of jobs available where you can be creative, you can be entrepreneurial, you can do anything and not to be put off by a job title that might seem like it's not anything to do with what you want to do. So my biggest advice to you all is, whilst you've got some spare time or whilst you're looking for jobs, is to build up your network and make it very relevant for you. Because I used to have a Twitter account with something like 25,000 followers and everything was just getting on top of me. And especially when I was looking for a job, it started to get very overwhelming. So I recently restarted and have created a really small group of people. You can now on Twitter, you can not follow individuals, but follow topics. I found that really helpful because it was bringing up the best conversations. So you can find new people, get involved in conversations and just really actively engage with the people, show your support and reach out, because people will remember your name. And also, whilst you've got time, build a portfolio. There's lots of free websites out there, and just update it once a month. Put on a little 10-minute writing of a blog post about your thoughts and what's happened in the last month. And just, you're then not only building a portfolio for yourself, but you're building a brand image for yourself. You're showing that you know what's going on and you're paving your way, essentially. You're a brand. And then if you see somebody saying, I need help on a project, or I've got a job and your deadline's an hour from you seeing it, you don't even need a CV. Just send across a link to your blog, which collates everything that you have and back everything up in different places as well. because I've written for 3 magazines that no longer exist, and that work is all gone. So just take the time to build your network and make sure it works for you. So it's entertaining, it's got all the news that you need with the people that are relevant for you. Back up all your work and make sure that you're looking for opportunities like this. Even attending today, you've done more than everyone else on your course has. So make sure, if you say you're going to follow up on something, and do it. Ollie came in to talk to me from UK Music, and I emailed him before that lecture saying how excited I was. He called me out in front of everyone in the lecture theatre saying I was the only one to do it, invited me for a coffee later on. 4 years on, I'm still sitting on panels with him, and nobody else from my university is. And that's just how powerful just making one connection is, and it's been invaluable, the experiences I've learned from that. And that's my ramble, I think.
Great.
So
Thanks,
let me
Anne.
know if you've got any questions.
Nice. Thank you so much. Brilliant. Nina's next on my little screen.
Great. Yeah. Actually, while you were talking, I was thinking, oh my God, that's such a similar story to me, because I'm originally from Germany, and I had a similar conversation with my dad where he was like, so, you're 18 now. What do you want? And I'm like, well, I want to move to the UK actually and study music. So nothing, because I know that's going to be probably really expensive. So very similar kind of thing. And I'm sure a lot of you will have or will want to come into this industry, or already are part of this industry, because you've done this course, because you've come from a passion for music and you love music and you want to do something with music for the rest of your life. And a lot of our members at AIM have come from a very similar way. So we represent the independent music sector in the UK. What that means is all the independent record labels, so Beggars Group, Domino, all the way to self-releasing artists and anything in between, sometimes managers also that look after their artists' rights. And we are a hub for them to provide them with knowledge and training, to lobbying government through our partnership with UK Music, amongst many, many other things. And, we're making sure that they can thrive in the digital age, and that we can help them to the best possibility. I think, that the whole message that AIM's membership kind of has is they're all entrepreneurs in music. And, whether they are a label or an artist, some are labels that started out as an artist or as a producer, and then they, instead of going with a label straight away, they built their own label, and they're now some of the most successful independent labels in the world. So it's really about, I think, for a lot of you, if you are, I saw a question about getting into the industry, if you are planning to, one day have your own label, or, if you're a self-releasing artist and you want to grow, understanding the business is so important. Anything from what revenue streams are out there. If you're an artist, signing up with PPL and PRS and understanding that fully, understanding the ins and outs of how any business runs is only going to benefit you. Some of the things that you might learn in university might be quite music specific, but do take your time to also look into things like, how does tax work? What do I need to do if I'm starting a business? Because even if you're then applying for a job at one of those businesses, you'll have all this knowledge to really help you get that job, because that, if you understand how not just the music business but any business works, it's going to be really beneficial to you. And I think the question was like, what extracurricular things can I do as well? There's so many networking events out there, some are specifically in London, but not all of them. Have a little look around if there are any music hubs, any music specific kind of networking events that you can go to expand your network, reach out to people on social media, to collaborate with them, start your own little projects, that if that's a blog, if you're talking about the music that you're excited about, and you're then applying for a job at the label, and you can show, look, I'm really passionate about your artist, I wrote this then, and this is kind of my portfolio of stuff that I've done. I think the more you can do and really work within your passion, the better that is going to be. So I hope that was useful.
Thanks, Nina. Great. So now move around to Shao Dow.
I keep forgetting to unmute. Hello. Let me set a timer so that I don't run over. So as I mentioned earlier, I'm a professional rapper. Making music is what I do. I'm thankful on a daily basis that I get paid to do something that I love, and to share my talent, my creativity, and my passion with hopefully the world. But that's not an easy thing to do, and it's not an easy position to get into, especially in today's market where fundamentally I don't believe you really even get paid for making music anymore, because streaming services, not naming any in particular, don't pay very much. Traditionally, it's about 1/4 of a penny per play. And if you think about that, a million streams is really not that much money. I think it's like £4,000 you would get from 1 million streams, and 1 million streams is not easy to achieve. So, you know, it's, if you get into the music industry and if you become an artist, it has to very much be because you love what you do. It can't be because you want to make money, because I truly believe musicians and the artists are some of the last people to get paid in the music industry, and often get paid the least amount of money. It's got to be for the love. Otherwise, just do something else. There are plenty of other jobs that you can do which will pay you. Don't get into music in order to make money. Get into it because you have passion, because it is fundamentally what you have to do with your life, and the money will come with time, with effort, and with dedication. Right now, we're in a situation where we can't perform. Last year, I was touring. I was meant to be touring in Canada this year. I'm really upset that I can't, but at least I have my health. So, you know, swings and roundabouts. And I think that this is a really great time to be leveling up your skills, not just as an artist, not just as a songwriter, but as an overall creative entrepreneur. I don't think, as I keep saying, you can just be a musician nowadays. If you get into this music industry and you're not prepared to do every single job necessary to find yourself success, I don't think you will have a very long-term career. I'm sorry if that sounds harsh, but it is what it is. You have to be willing to manage yourself, to book your own shows, to build your own websites, to do your own image editing, to film and edit your own music videos. Even if you don't do those long term, even if you only do it once, I really think it's great to understand and learn those skills, because then when you have other people on board who are doing it for you, you know what they're doing and what they're meant to be doing and what they're not meant to be doing. You have to be a master of your craft as well as your business. It's really important to understand not just the musician side of things, but the business side of things. So all of these people in this chat right now, really great people to connect with, to understand what they do, to just talk and ask some questions and really get to grips with the music industry, because the industry and the business side of things is what will get you paid, and that's what's going to pay your bills. That's what's going to keep your lights on. It's what will keep a roof over your head. Going back to the quarantine situation, I mean, we're all stuck at home. Even though technically quarantine is over, we're still all stuck at home. It's a great opportunity to be learning new skills, to be leveling yourself up. I this year have really focused a lot on learning Japanese. I've been learning for the past 2 or 3 years, but this year I've put a lot more effort into it, and I feel significantly more comfortable with my Japanese, to the point where I'm rapping a lot in Japanese as well, and that's attracting a great new fan base, and it's carving me out a niche. Something that other people can't do that I can. So that's been really great for my music, even though on the face of it, learning Japanese has absolutely nothing to do with being a UK rapper. I've also repurposed my website. I completely revamped it, built a merch website, and I'm selling a lot more merch online now. It's going out to America. I had one go out to Australia the other day, Canada, and just that extra money coming in helps me to reinvest in my music career, which is also really, really important. Diversifying your income streams as an artist, do as many different things, make lots of money in lots of different places. Therefore, if one avenue such as performances goes down, you still have many other avenues, so you're not stuck for money. There are plenty of touring musicians right now who are really struggling, and I feel for them, but it should be a good lesson to learn to have as many different avenue streams as possible. I've also been learning things like how to use Google advertisement, Facebook ads, to run ads for my music videos, for my merch, for my manga series, etc., etc. I'm trying to do as much as possible during this time, including making music. I've been writing theme songs for cartoon shows, all sorts of things. Fundamentally, as a musician, you owe it to yourself to be the best possible version of yourself as you can, and then translate that into music, but also share that with your audience, with your fan base, and with your followers. and hopefully inspire and entertain. Thank you. And that's the timer.
I think Ollie's muted, but I think it might be my go.
I do apologise. I can't believe I made the classic error. Classic error. Thank you, Shao. That's perfect. So, Sylv, over to you.
So firstly, I mean, following Shao is like the toughest thing in the world because it makes me feel like a real underachiever. But you've heard some like amazing tips, and everything everyone said is incredible, and I think super helpful. My side is very much focused on the business side of the industry. So what I have done for the last 13 years is help people get jobs in the business side of the music industry. So that might be record labels, in artist management, in publishing companies, in live, obviously not so much at the moment. So that's, I guess, hopefully where I can offer you some advice. So I've made a few notes because I wanted to make sure I covered everything off, and a few of these things have come up already, but I'm going to run through them anyway, because I think it takes us a few times of hearing the same thing for it actually to stick in our brains. It does for me anyway. So the first thing I would say is, you know, we are in this weird kind of like COVID world at the moment. So my first top tip is to focus on what you can do rather than what you can't. And what I mean by that is flipping everything that kind of comes your way into an opportunity. So for example, getting a job in the music industry, it's on the business side of things, I would say, and I don't have any experience on that creative side, but on the music business side of things, a lot of people kind of say to me like, you know, it's catch-22. I couldn't get a job because I didn't get experience, but I can't get experience, so I can't get a job. So I would remind people that actually your own projects are just as relevant as any job that you're going to get in the first instance. And running your own projects will help you get in the door because it gives you something to put on your CV. And what I mean by your own projects is it a project that you did whilst you're at uni that relates to the business side of the music industry? Do you write your own blog? Do you help your friend who's in a band manage their social media presence? Like, are you curating content? Like, what is it you're doing in your own time that you can put on your CV? And on your CV, I would say name and contact details, a bit of a personal profile about you. Try and make it about you and not sound like something you've copied and pasted off Google. And then a music related experience section. So even if it is your own project, say you write your own blog, for example, dates that you were doing it to and from, what your blog's called, a link to the blog, a one line, which is, you know, it's your own blog and you started it because XYZ, and then bullet point the things that you actually do. So, you know, if you created a website to post your blog on, write that. If you create any graphics to go on there, that. Talk about the fact that you had to find people to, maybe you were interviewing people on your blog, so write that in there. So it's just bullet pointing some really clear skills that you have and duties that you need to fulfill. Connect with people. I know networking is so important at the moment. It's difficult because we are living in a world where we can't be that close to people, but lots of events have gone online. There's a great network at YGN, which is Young Guns Network. You can follow them on Instagram and attend their events online as well. What else? Don't forget, you can connect with people on LinkedIn. If you are looking on the music business side of things, make sure that your LinkedIn profile matches your CV. So it's really clear who you are, what you do and what you're looking for. You can connect with people on LinkedIn and, you know, just ask them if they've got an interesting career, drop them a message and ask if you can take 10 minutes of their time for a quick call to find out more about what they do, and you're trying to start your career in the music industry. So use LinkedIn as a networking platform. Essentially, have a great CV, and what I mean by that is laying it out clearly and so it's easily digestible. It's not an essay, it's a document that someone is going to open in a PDF usually, and they're going to want to be able to understand who you are and what experience you have in the top 2/3 of the page, because obviously, as we know, it's a competitive industry. There'll be lots of applications. The best way you can do that is to deliver that information as clearly as possible. Save the narrative paragraphs for your covering letter. And your covering letter, I would say, is the additional information, the context, the flavor of who you are and why you love that company that you're applying for. Follow all the companies that you love, that you're interested in working for on social media. Particularly entry-level roles are going to be advertised on their socials as well as LinkedIn and the company websites, because that's where they're target demographic are. So like, make sure you're following them. You never know, there might be a tweet saying we're looking for a paid intern for X, apply here. If you're following them on social media, it's coming to you direct into your feed. Couple of other bits. Admin skills are so important when you start working. I'm so sorry if I've gone over 5 minutes. I've just got a couple more things to say. Admin skills are really, really key. People think working in the music business side of things is super glam. It's not, let me tell you that. You're going to fill in loads of spreadsheets. So admin skills are really key. Make sure you can write an email in a way where there aren't any typos and it's polite and it's topped and tailed with, I hope you're having a good week and thanks so much for your time. Make sure that you're accurate with any information that you're entering into spreadsheets and all that kind of stuff. Admin skills are so important when you're starting out. I would say also make sure you know your stuff, like be an expert in what you love. You can be consuming content from everywhere at the moment. Read books about artists that you love, watch documentaries about scenes that you think are incredible. Like, just consume as much information as humanly possible, because the amazing thing about working in music, we all do it because we love music. It's work, but I kind of like it. So like, make sure that you're using every opportunity, create opportunities for yourself by learning as much as you can. And also Music Business Worldwide, CMU, Music Week, to keep on top of the business side of things. Think about your personal brand. What do you want people to say about you when you, like, from those interactions? The personal brand thing is like, what do you want people to say about you when you're not in the room? We're kind of not in the room at the moment anyway, but what impression do you want to leave people with? How do you want them to remember you? Do you want them to remember you as a really positive, engaging, switched on person, or do you want them to remember you as someone who couldn't be bothered to spell check their CV? I think we know the answer to that one. I would say always be you. That is your USP. You are you. You are the only you in any recruitment process. So do make sure that, you know, you're true to yourself. You don't need to try and be anyone else. Just be the best version of you that you can be, which I think Shao said as well. And also, like, 3 words: proactivity, positivity, and passion are absolutely key to work in the music industry. And when we talk about passion, like, prove your passion. Every candidate who wants to work in the music business side of things, I ask every candidate, why do you want to work in music? Almost every answer is because I'm passionate about music. And I'm like, great, so is my mum. I'm not giving her a job. What is it that makes you different? How do you do that? How do you put that into practice? And that's writing the blog or curating the content or all those other fabulous things we spoke about. So that's it.
Great.
That's it.
Thanks, Phil. Brilliant. So I think as we've been going, Sharon, you've been looking at some questions, collating some questions. Is that correct?
I'm doing it as well. Yes, lots of really interesting questions. Everybody had their chat then?
Yeah, we're all done. So.
Really great and really interesting. And thank you. We've covered quite a lot of ground. One of the simple things, obviously, to get us started is how to get into the music sector. But I'd like to overlay that with now, in the situation that we're in. Should we do a hands up to go first sort of thing, so we're not all talking over each other? Go on then.
Sure. So I, in preparation of this, asked myself the same question, and I spoke to my CEO about this as well. I was kind of like, what do you think? You know, what would you advise students at the moment? And he said, you know, there are so many interesting kind of things that have come out of this, like the whole live streaming situation. You know, that's not going to go away that quickly. Have a look at the news trends that are coming up, like be look ahead at newer things that are coming up, and dip into them and find out more about them, and be the expert in that field, be the expert in the next field that's coming up. Play the long game rather than just kind of focusing on the short-term kind of goals. And also look at what's happened in the industry. The digital side of the industry has kind of stayed robust, so has the physical, surprisingly. Have a look into those areas as well, and find out more about them, and look at jobs in those areas as well. And like it was said, there are still jobs being advertised. Have a look on Music Business Worldwide, have a look on all these publications that Sylv just mentioned. They all have a jobs part on their websites, in their physical products. Have a look at those. I think reach out to people, network. Networking is easier than ever now. And if you build a network and you help people out with things, I think that's a really good way to kind of get going. So yeah, don't be frightened of what's happening. It's all good.
Great. Does anyone have anything to add to that?
I would just say, make sure you're, much like Nina said about looking at Music Business Worldwide and all the publications that list those music business jobs. Do make sure, I know I said it before, but I'm going to say it again, do make sure that you're following those companies on their social media accounts, and make sure that a lot of the bigger companies will have like a jobs page on their website, and you can actually sign up and they will send you updates automatically. So do make sure that you're being proactive. Don't wait for the kind of jobs to come to you. Like, be proactive, be looking all the time, for sure.
Right. And can I just jump in as well? The questions come through from Sarah, sorry.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that question.
You will say it differently.
You can expand that with talking about other types of qualifications that you and I have talked about
sure.
as well. Yeah,
no worries. So the question is, do I need a music-related degree to get into the music industry, or are there also opportunities for me with a PPE degree? I'd say obviously it's going to help, I think, having a music degree. There's certainly, it demonstrates an interest and a foundational knowledge. But as everyone's been talking about, music's also about demonstrating what your passion, and also showing how that is made manifest. So if you've been organising gigs for 10 years, and then you do a PPE degree, then there's and then you're interested in moving into, say, working in a venue, you can demonstrate and show those live gigs you've been organising. That's supported by the proof that you can go through a degree and all the critical thinking and all that sort of stuff that comes with that. Then that's as good as a music degree, I'd argue. Of course, music degrees are helpful. There are other routes in, as Sharon mentioned. So we're really clamping down on unpaid internships. A little bit of work experience is fine, but if it's a role, they should be paying you. So look out for that. Don't do something you think this is a job and not get paid. So paid internships are a good way in. As Sylv mentioned, a lot of majors will advertise them. There'll be a short window, I believe. Sylv, they'll often advertise and say you've got a couple of weeks to get in because they're popular. So you do follow them all on social media. Other routes in, apprentices. I mean, the landscape's changed. You can now do an apprenticeship even if you have a degree. And I know we're talking to sort of graduates and maybe some students today as well. You can apply for apprenticeships even if you have a degree. Just be open-minded as well about opportunities that come up. You might be all set on thinking, right, I really want to do this role in that kind of company. Actually, loads of people I've met over the years who work in roles they either really love now, or quite like, or are a little bit like, oh, well, I'm not quite in the area I want to be. Generally, there's some kind of gateway role, basically. The industry is quite small, and you get to meet the same people over and over again, and you hear about opportunities, and people will hear about you if you're good at what you do. So my advice really is just try and get in somewhere and start learning about the industry, and then that will help you develop. But yeah, there's lots of different routes in. So courses have been mentioned over here too. There's loads of great free ones these days. But people like the Open University do great courses. The universities we work with, the Music Academic Partnership, do fantastic courses too. And just quickly, just to finish off, someone mentioned, how do I get nominated like Danielle was for the prize? And we work with a certain amount of universities, and the graduates from those universities can get nominated for our prize. And we're growing, we want to work with as many universities as possible. So spread the word. But yeah, that's my tuppence worth. Ciao.
Thanks, Ollie. So I get asked this question a lot, and I'm noticing it's popping up in the chat as well. So people often ask me, how do I get into music as an artist? How do I become a rapper? How do I become a lyricist? How do I become a singer? To which I ask a question, which is, how many songs have you written? And often the answer is none, or maybe one or two. And as a result, my answer is one that most people don't like, and it's very, very simple. Write more songs. That's all you have to do. If you want to be a lyricist, write lyrics. If you want to be a musician, make music. It is really that simple, but that simplicity is incredibly difficult, because the drive and determination to write 100 songs, to write 200 songs, to write 1,000 songs is one that will either make or break you in this industry. Maybe you have to write 100 songs before anybody taking notice of you. God knows I wrote a lot of songs before I could even consider myself good. You need to put your 10,000 hours into this before you can even think about having a career in the music industry. You have to be willing to work on yourself for free for a very, very long time. Work on your craft, work on your artistry, be excellent at music making before and above anything else. So the answer is simple. The methodology is not simple, but that is the answer to everybody who wants to know how to get into the music industry as an artist. You make music, and you keep making it, and you keep making it, and you keep making it until you've made it. And you may never, on that note, actually may never make it to the traditional sense, but I believe if you can make a living from your artistry and your creative endeavors, to me, you've made it, because that's more than 99% of people who want to be musicians. So work extremely hard and be excellent at making music. And I forgot to mention my socials, just in case anyone wants to say hello. I'm at Shao Dow Music on social media, and DIYgang.co.uk is my website.
Great.
We had a couple of questions that kind of allied to each other that I think is quite interesting, and I really would like to hear, because you're all in different sort of disciplines, what you would say to this. We had questions around obviously we have where we are now, but what the biggest changes you guys see in the next 10 years, and what kind of jobs do you see, jobs of the future, as it were, that are starting to become increasingly important in what you do? And it'd be quite interesting to know what each of your view is on this. I mean, obviously we don't have a crystal ball, but you're in the industry, you could be seeing trends.
I think that's an important point to make, is, there are jobs now that didn't exist 10 years ago, and there will be the same in another 10 years. So trying to second guess it is a fool's game, if you like. But we have, there are definite trends around data and around technology, all these kind of things, and they're really interesting and valuable, definitely. So they're areas that you can certainly think, well, if I get the skills in these, there's bound to be jobs in the future. But something I always come back to when I'm doing these talks is, I think if you can get that underpinning, those basic skills right, and be open and plastic and willing to learn, then that will help you succeed. No matter what the jobs are in the future, you have to have that willingness to engage, be the person that companies want to invite back. You might get a couple of weeks paid, doing some research or something, and they go, wow, that person was really on it. And don't be the person that turns up and go, well, I don't really want to be doing this, and I'll leave a bit early because I can. Be engaged, be switched on, and try and be that person that they want to invite back. But I'd definitely say tech, and innovations around tech. We've seen a massive rise in it around COVID. Suddenly everyone's going, right, we can work from home, we can use Zoom, we can do more live streams. And once COVID sort of starts to diminish and the live scene comes back, the tech side won't be going anywhere. If anything, it's just strengthen that, and that'll be something for the future to consider. So I'll stop waffling, pass over to someone else.
That's not waffling. I loved it. Sorry, I've jumped in there. I didn't raise my hand. I would back up everything Ollie said 100% in terms of like anything that's digital, streaming, data related. That's a safe bet to get stuck into that. Upskill yourself there. Clearly, I think just touching on something else that Ollie said, behaviors and attributes are so important. It's not just purely about those hard skills. It's about how you conduct yourself, how you put yourself out there, be friendly, be polite, be positive, be helpful. You know, if you do get an opportunity, just remember you might have like literally the most mundane task to do, but if you put ultimate effort in, if you're asked to make a spreadsheet or get together a load of links of research of something or other, just put your absolute all into it, because that really shows, and be friendly and be helpful and be organized. You know, don't wait for people to kind of come to give you stuff to do, but go to them and be proactive. I think those behaviors and attributes are as important as the skills.
I've got a super quick example of that, if I may. It will only take a second. So UK Music, we do a load of research, important. We talk to government a lot about that, and we use that to back up the importance around supporting industry. We had an apprentice who actually joined UK Music before I joined UK Music. Fantastic person, really engaged. She started to ask for more work around herself. She started to ask for more work around learning how to help design stuff, you know, getting interested in that side of things. She was an admin business apprentice. So now, fast forward a few years to today, and she is our design person who takes care of all of our reports. She recently designed a logo that was flashed up on the Houses of Parliament, and across venues across the country. You know, so if you just think, right, well, I'm going to do this job to the best of my ability, and also encourage, you know, look into interests I have, develop myself, then God, you know, who knows where it will lead. And she's a key member of our team now. So that's one of the little example. I won't say her name in case she gets embarrassed, but you know.
Anybody want to add anything to that? Yes.
So, like I say, I work at PPL PRS, so we collect public performance licenses. So I started out working in a live music team. So whether it's a performance at a church or at a stadium or anywhere in between, if an artist performs, we get the set list and a percentage of the box office, and we distribute it based on which PPL and PRS member as the royalties. So whilst I was working as an advisor, I really got interested in theatrical productions and basically took ownership of all of that side of things, to the point where I made my own job. Like, I got called into a meeting with HR and they were like, we want to change your job to be just focused on theatre and variety. So I do think, like Ollie's saying, you pave your own opportunities. And as long as you've got that drive and you build yourself a niche, you could create your own dream job. And it might not necessarily be in a company that you thought it would be. So at the moment at PPL PRS, we work in public performance. So anything that's broadcast and streamed online doesn't necessarily come to us, but it goes to our parent companies. But a lot of our customers are doing lots of things online, so they're naturally coming to us. So a lot of people who work at PPL PRS are learning so many new skills about streaming online that eventually they could probably progress onto the parent companies, because it's just naturally something they've learned and they've embraced. And we're getting so many we're having to change how we operate, because a lot of our calls now are saying, I've been closed for so long, I own a shop that we normally play background music, or I own a bar and we normally have a singer come in, but we can't do that anymore. And we're having to adapt how we're operating and communicating with our clients every single day, because everybody's doing something different. And if a lot of people could have gone, this isn't the job I signed up for and I'm going to leave. But a lot of us have gone, this is actually a time for us to show we're compassionate, that we care, to talk to people, learn more about what's going on. And we're learning so much about humankind and how people are really valuing music. And it's just been a really amazing experience at a company we only started 3 years ago, and we've been able to transition into a new company and now fight this tidal wave that's been coming against us. And the company has been fantastic, and they're actually hiring, but that's a little plug.
Fantastic. We've had a lot of very specific questions throughout the session, and I'd like to thank everybody in the who is attending for asking these. I'm afraid we can't go into specific individual answers, or Shadow's doing his best to field what he can. But if you can answer in the chat, if you can. If not, before we leave, I'll ask everybody to put a link up. So if you have specific questions for people for your specific circumstance, you can send them through. And of course, on social, on the different accounts, it is a great way to get a conversation started. One last topic. We've only got about 10 minutes left, so maybe you guys can put your hand up if you want to answer. But in my view, not being in the music world, although I would hasten to add, I'm the greatest groupie ever. I can always get people to a gig, and I will always get everyone to dance. But I can neither sing nor dance, and I do both enthusiastically. But I have a lot of friends who are in the music industry, and there seems to be a lot of misconceptions about what people see, and particularly in terms of this conversation of waking up one day and having a successful video on TikTok or something, and suddenly I'm going to be a rock star. And it certainly has been a theme throughout the conversation that there's so many other skills and attributes. But I'd like to take a minute to bust any myths that you come across either in your own personal experience, or you come across frequently in the thing in your job.
Yeah.
Because one thing that we just one last comment is we've heard all the way through National Graduate Week this as well from all the employers in different sectors that a passion for the job overrides quite often, unless you're doing something very specific for a very specific professional role where you have to have very specific qualifications. Generally speaking, it is that professionalism and employability skills, and even for my friends who work in music, you know, the days of a rock stars turn up 3 hours, 3 days late. You know, it's not. You turn up on time and you smile and you do what you can. But that's from an outsider. Love to hear what you guys have to say, and disavow these youngsters of what misconceptions you may have come across.
Yeah, I think one I thought about earlier, which I'll just jump into quick, and I wanted to mention, was that sort of myth of the overnight success for artists. I think you often see someone suddenly hit the charts or whatever, and you think, wow, look at that. Didn't know about them, and now look at them. That often years has gone into building a fan base, working their way up. You know, so just don't. And I think the X factor is one of the reasons why we've shifted our perception of what success entails and how it's achieved. Of course, there are stories about that, like that, but they're much rarer than people imagine, I think. So yeah, hard work and honing your craft, like Shao mentioned earlier, is such an underrated thing. You know, and having something to give people. I've been approached a lot of times as well by people saying, "Oh, I produce, or I'm a singer songwriter," and there and then that's their opportunity. I say, "Have you got a link, or have you got something you can give me now?" "Oh, I haven't recorded it." Well, you've just lost your opportunity. You know what I mean? I'm not the person to give it to, but that's the example. You know, if you do meet someone from a label, or you do meet someone who might want to manage you and help your career, or a lawyer who wants to advise you, and you've just missed that opportunity. So just be prepared, I think, is the key. And that comes back to Shao's point earlier. Sure.
Hi. So, like you said, Ollie, overnight success. I believe overnight success genuinely takes no less than 5 years' time. And realistically, I think something that can be built overnight can be taken away overnight as well. I would much rather have long-term success, even if it takes me a long time to build. But that's me personally, and not everybody is like me. I think that the problem with social media is that so many people are just putting their best parts of their life and not the struggles, not the difficult parts. You don't see the negative aspects of being a musician, or of just being what others might consider a success. And there is a lot. You don't know people's personal struggles, so don't compare yourself to what other people are doing. Find your own version of success and stick to that. And I know that's difficult, and I know I can say that, but I constantly compare myself to other people, and I try my best not to. It depends on the day. Today I'm feeling particularly awesome, so I'm just comparing myself to me yesterday. But it is really all about finding your love for yourself and it starts with your like for yourself. Appreciate who you are as a human being and who you are as an artist, and work on that. Then it's far more difficult for other people to discourage you or take away your successes, because regardless of what anybody thinks of you, you are satisfied with yourself. And I think that is incredibly important, whether or not you're a musician, whether or not you're in the music industry. And a final point I'd like to make, so that we can pass on to somebody else, is that nobody, especially in the music industry, owes you a single thing at all, except for yourself. Don't expect anything from anybody, and then you won't be disappointed. You can always ask, and people are entitled to say no. That DJ is not required to play your track on the radio. That A&R doesn't have to give you a record deal. Nobody has to do anything for you. All you have to do as an artist is make amazing music and find a way to continue making that music for as long as possible until you start building a fan base. Your fans don't owe you anything either, but look after them, because they are the reason you have a career in the first place. So treat them with the utmost respect. Don't worry so much about the industry and about the gatekeepers and about the people who work in the industry. Worry first and foremost about how you feel about your music career and what you're doing, and secondly about the people who listen to your music and who give you that career. Those are the most important people, not the A&R, not the DJ, not anybody else. It's you and your fans first and foremost. So focus on them, and the rest will come, I believe.
And I suppose from a music business perspective, if you're like touching on something Shao mentioned, then like if you are sending loads of applications out and you're not hearing back, be patient, I would say, because, for example, there's a job I'm working on at the moment. It was advertised for 2 days and there were 2,000 applications that came in for 2 days. So someone has to go through every one of those applications. So please be patient. It is a tough time. There are a lot of people looking, but the things that you can do to make your CV stand out are the things we spoke about earlier. And if you follow BIY People and Talent on Instagram, which is at biy.people.and.talent, don't ask. Then there are some top tips on there. We post them all the time, but be patient and make sure you've tailored every application you send for each job, because there is nothing more painful than looking for example, trying to advertising a marketing internship, and someone writes in their cover letter, I really want to work in A&R. It's like, cool, this job isn't for you then. So do make sure you take time to tailor every application.
I think I'm really sorry to stop everybody. I think it's been an absolutely brilliant session, and I know that we could do a longer one, and maybe that's something, Ollie, we need to talk about going forward. I'm just going to put the presentation back up, but I'm going to slip to the next slide here, which has lots of links. I think if we just turn our cameras off for a second while I do a little waffling, and then we can come back onto the full screen so people can take a picture. If you take a screenshot of this page now, it's all of quite a lot of very helpful links for you to get some further information and follow up any of the conversations. The session is being recorded. I've put in the sticky label in the chat of where you can find it next week, so you can come back to it. But a screenshot of this will help you have it now. So if I end that presentation and we all come back to say our farewells. I would like to take this opportunity to thank everybody who logged in today. You've been a great crowd and lots of fantastic questions. I'll have us all go around the table and say our names and where we're from again for one last farewell. So it's goodbye for me, Sharon Walpole, Director at CareerMap, careermap.co.uk, where there's also live vacancies and lots of information. And in fact, we worked on Career Meg for Music with UK Music that has lots of detailed information about careers and qualifications and fascinating case studies, and Shao on the cover as well. So thank you very much for joining.
Great. Thank you very much, Ollie Morris from UK Music. Check out ukmusic.org for we've got a careers pack which has some useful links and some guidance. We're always doing stuff, talks and stuff, so follow us on Twitter as well, and Insta. We don't, not so keen on Insta. Can't get my head around it. But so yeah, thank you very much, Sharon, for having us. Brilliant. Danielle?
I'm Tanya Ogumishan from PPL PRS, but also freelance music writer. And thanks for all your questions. If you've got anything, just drop me a message via my online portfolio. It's got my email address and LinkedIn and everything on there. So look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Dan. Nina?
Yeah, I'm Nina. I work for AIM, as I've said. Do get in touch with us if you want to find out more about membership. We run a lot of webinars and workshops. I've seen a lot of the questions, that we might be able to help you with. So do check us out and get in touch. Yeah.
Great. Sylv?
Sylv, BIY People and Talent, that's the company name, and you can actually email us if you have any questions. We'll answer, I promise, as soon as humanly possible. It might take us a little while. hello@biypeople.co.uk. That's hello@biypeople.co.uk. Follow us on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. We're not on Twitter. Thanks everyone, good luck, and remember to always say thank you. That's a really good top tip after anything.
Thanks, Sylv. I'm good, aren't I? Shao?
皆様、どうもありがとうございました。そして、さようなら。Shao Dow です。Rapper, manga author, ninja, occasional Japanese speaker. You can find me at diygang.co.uk as well as at Shao Dow Music on every social media conceivable. Check out my music. I make dope music, I believe. And yeah, thank you for tuning in and listening. Say hello on Twitter or Instagram or something.
Brilliant. Right, everyone, we'll give a big farewell wave as we say goodbye. Thanks again for everybody to joining us, and hopefully you'll tune in and see us again soon. Still more stuff coming up this week. Take care then. Goodbye.